Welcome to episode 107 of the Impulso podcast. So today is the 20th of January, and we're filming this a couple of hours before Donald Trump is going to be sworn in as the President of the United States, right?
Are you going to watch the inauguration ceremony?
Are you? I have other shows to watch.
I watch whatever there is to watch on TikTok.
Okay, so basically, if it happens that you scroll through your TikTok and it's there, you might watch for a few seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that there will be clips on TikTok, but
Definitely.
that's a good segue to what we're actually going to talk about today, which is the recent sort of TikTok ban in the US, right? So just setting a little context for our viewers. So yesterday on the 19th of January, TikTok actually went kind of offline in the US. So there was a sort of like pop-up sent to users in the US that said, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. For those who are listening, essentially the notification said that a law banning TikTok has been enacted by the US. And of course, what they also mentioned is that at the bottom is we are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned.
So of course we're based in Asia, and last night lots of people were talking about it, talking about TikTok going dark. And this morning, and many people woke up to the news that it's back live.
It's back? Yeah. So
what did he say?
So this morning there's another screenshot. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience and support. This is less than 24 hours after TikTok went offline in the US, right? And then they said, as a result of President Trump's effort, TikTok is back in the US. We can continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love on TikTok.
Interesting is crediting Trump like
Yes,
2
they
days in a row.
credited Trump in both messages. So in the message where they were going offline, they said that they would work with Trump. And then when they went back online, they thanked Trump. So of course, I guess recently Trump has, in the most recent election, he has came out and said that he would not support this ban.
Yep. So actually, you know, Trump has a TikTok account, right? So
Yes.
when it first came out, there was a video. I think it was his third video, and he was saying that he was basically pledging two things. That was still during the elections, and the first thing is that he's going to remove the personal income tax for tips, and the second is that he's going to save TikTok. And he looked very jolly in that video.
Yes. But like, that's the thing that brings back two terms ago, Trump was kind of the one that brought up this whole ban on TikTok, right? And of course, maybe before we talk into that, we can talk a little bit about the significance of TikTok in the US, right? So obviously we know TikTok is one of the leading social media platforms in the US. They have over 170 million users in the US alone. But it's not just that. So we know that TikTok has been expanding into the e-commerce scene, right? And of course, with the launch of TikTok Shop, especially that in the US market has actually done really well in TikTok Shop, right? So the annual GMV in 2024 for TikTok US alone, in TikTok Shop US alone, is about $9 billion US. So it's actually overtaken Indonesia to be
As
the
the top country.
Yeah, as the top.
So I think our insights team has been working with Tapcart, which has been doing TikTok and shop analytics for the last 2 years. So we're tallying the e-commerce GMV numbers as well as trends for 2024. So a new report will be coming out towards the end of this week.
Yes, so if you guys are interested in the report, you can check it out. I will add the link into the show notes and the comments as soon as it's out, so you guys can take a look.
So obviously there are, I don't know, how many shops are there on TikTok Shop US?
70.
For 7 million, it provided 7 million jobs, over 7 million. That's according to a show, like in recent TikTok, like 2 days ago.
2 days ago,
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously there's lots of activities going on TikTok. I mean, of course, young people go there and consume news, and content creators are creating content, and merchants are doing e-commerce. So it's a vibrant ecosystem there.
So obviously when the news of the ban kind of like kicked in, a lot of people were panicking, right? I think no one was panicking until like maybe a day before the ban, when it actually hit them like, oh shit, I actually have to start shifting followers to other platforms.
It was kind of funny because I'm in a lot of groups with merchants, WeChat and WhatsApp groups, and many of them were talking about this potential ban, right? But up until I don't know 2 or 3 days before the ban was actually going in force, people there were basically saying that okay, I'm sure they'll find a solution. I'm sure that okay, they read lots of news saying that okay, the Supreme Court is going to hear this case. Oh no, they voted against it,
Yeah.
and maybe Trump will save it. I mean, they see every positive sign that's coming their way to say that, okay, maybe the business will be going as usual. When TikTok went dark on yesterday, on the 19th of January, some people are saying that, shit, I need to be worried. I need to probably go to Temu to clear my inventory. but I think many people were saying that, okay, I think this is just a tactic that TikTok is basically showing the middle finger to the Biden administration, and things will come back. So there are really different interpretations. And I was asking a lot of people there saying, hey, do you really know what's going on? And people said no, but I wish that things will go this way. And of course, I mean, when people's economic interests are at stake, they hope that, and I think the whole would carry on.
Yeah, but I think it's not that the ban has been lifted, right? So of course, as of now, when we're filming this, it's a day after where the ban was supposed to be enacted, but of course TikTok is back. It's very funny. I was watching on TikTok this morning, and a lot of the
Watching on TikTok.
Yeah, I was watching TikTok in the morning,
Yeah.
and a lot of the posts were just like, everyone was so dramatic yesterday because they thought TikTok was going to be banned, and in less than 24 hours, everyone is back on the platform already.
I think because US is also one of the countries that allows monetization of content, right? So a lot of the TikTokers, their main job is actually just TikTok, and they get money from views.
Actually, yeah, it's not just TikTok Shop. There were
It's
a lot
not
of
just TikTok
content
Shop.
creators who also earn money.
TikTokers themselves. So it's a bit different in Singapore because we don't allow monetization of content. So then they
You don't?
they usually pivot to become like influencers. So then they get
No,
money from endorsements.
How do they monetize on TikTok in the US, where you are not allowed to do it in Singapore?
But I know that they get money from views, like in the US.
Oh, the ads, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay.
Yeah.
So then there was this TikToker, Katie Fang, do you know her? She's
yeah,
like this
I heard
beauty
of her.
influencer. She was like crying because she realized that she has to find a new job now. Her exact words were, I have to find a proper job now. Yeah.
But being an influencer, I mean, it's a proper job, right? I mean, I think somebody did a survey saying that most of the kids in the US want to be influencer.
But the thing is, you can also move to another platform. I think the issue with most of this is that most of these influencers who started with TikTok, they didn't grow their other platforms as much. So because of the ban, they were concerned that they were going to lose like a big part of their following.
So they became quite dependent on a platform.
Yes.
It's also, I mean, quite hard for you to operate. I mean, unless you have big resources and a big team, it's such quite hard for you to create content at the same time for different platforms, because different platforms would have different algorithms and sort of different profile of audience and the different ways that the content get pushed. So yeah, so lots of people worried, and but
it's back. But then I guess the question now is, how long is this going to last, and whether or not TikTok will survive, right? Because obviously the ban hasn't been lifted.
Okay, what's the situation now? I think President Trump said that he was probably going to ask for extension for 90 days.
Yes.
And I think he also outlined some of the terms, right? Okay, so obviously Trump said something more specific yesterday on the 19th of January, and specifically at 11 p.m. US time. Or US time or Singapore time, I don't know. But anyway, so he wrote a post on Truth Social, and I think Dennis, you can pull this up. So I'm going to quote him exactly, and quote, I'm asking companies not to let TikTok stay dark. I will issue an executive order on Monday to extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect, so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. The order will also confirm that there will be no liability for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, so he wants people to see it, as well as other events and conversations. I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, and allow it to stay up. Without US approval, there's no TikTok. Without our approval, it is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions. Therefore, my initial thought is a joint venture between the current owners and or new owners, whereby the US gets a 50% ownership in a joint venture set up between the US and whichever purchase we so choose. So essentially, I think he was more specific, because Biden administration was basically saying that they were not going to enforce the law on the 19th, right? Because of the last day of the Biden presidency. And I think they used the technicalities that it was a Sunday, so nobody's working, so they can't enforce. But I think what the companies, I mean, the Oracle, the likes of, I don't know, Google, Apple, sort of the app stores, and what they were concerned is that they might have liability incurred because the law says that whoever provides services would have liability. I think Trump was specific by saying that, okay, you will not have liability. So that was what allowed companies to continue to provide services and TikTok come back. 50% joint venture, so that's...
But that's for like ByteDance or just the TikTok app?
I think just for TikTok, right? So maybe just TikTok US. So the question is that I think I don't know the exact cap table of ByteDance. I suspect that probably a significant percentage of the company ownership is already with US investors. So I don't know. There could be the possibility that they spin off TikTok US as a separate entity. And map the exact ownership of ByteDance into it, then they probably already have like quite a significant US ownership. They may maybe add a few like strategic investors. They already hit the goal. So
that will kind of prevent TikTok from the ban from lasting longer than this after this 90 days grace period that Trump has given them, right?
So basically they will claim that, okay, we have already made a deal and TikTok is in the control of US interests, and then case closed, and Trump would still be able to broadcast his
inauguration.
By that time will be like his policies, his executive orders, and his claims on TikTok.
I think what's interesting is that Trump wants to bring back TikTok now, right? Because initially during his presidential term, he was the one that kind of said he wants to ban TikTok. He was the one that brought up this whole banning of TikTok, and now he seems to be supportive of it.
Yeah.
So why do you think
what's wrong with that?
Because he changed his mind.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with changing his mind. Why do you think he changed his mind?
I mean, nothing wrong with changing his mind, right? I mean, politicians need to stay up to date with the current times. When Singapore decided to build a casino, I think somebody went to Lee Kuan Yew and said that, oh, you promised that Singapore will never have casinos. Lee Kuan Yew said, something along the lines that I promised that in the 90s. Okay, Lee Kuan Yew said that I promised that probably in the 1970s. Now it's like 2000s. Things have changed.
So what do you think made Trump change his mind? Did he realize what a good platform TikTok was for himself?
I don't know the exact thinking of Trump. And I'm not even sure whether people close to him know exactly what's going on in his mind. But I do think he's a very lucid, calculative businessman. So obviously, by sounding crazy, he makes his negotiations more effective. I mean, think about it. It's the same as the North Korean dictator. People say he's crazy, but he's lucid, right? By making people believe that he's crazy, he gets a bigger stake in negotiations. As far as Trump is concerned, I think a couple of things. I mean, first is he now uses TikTok, and he sees the power of TikTok. What other social platforms he uses? Like X. Truth Social. But I mean, Truth Social appeals to a niche audience, his core voters.
Okay, and obviously I think X has a very different demographic from TikTok, right? Especially since it was bought over by Elon Musk.
Yes.
Trump has his own TikTok profile as well, and his videos are like obviously not staged, not filmed by a professional camera. So it might be planned. But it's very TikTok style. He's talking directly to the camera.
It doesn't feel like a professional production.
He knows how to communicate,
Yes.
right? So I think before this chat, you guys were saying that you watched some of the Kamala Harris productions. It's very staged.
It's not staged, it's just very professional. Almost like those news reports.
I see.
It's like an actual production as compared to someone at home filming their own TikTok.
Okay, so it feels like a bit out of place for the TikTok platform in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like even brands on TikTok, like the ads that they try to do have to be very
It's very like
homemade. Like
So brands know, some brands figure out how to do it.
Some brands do it well. So I think, of course, another thing that we can look at as well is how Mr. Chu, the current CEO of TikTok, has been managing this whole thing, right? So obviously, he has mentioned that he will be attending Trump's inauguration.
So he's invited.
He has been invited, yes. Him along with, I think, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, a couple of these tech executives.
Yeah.
And I think he's been handling this whole kind of TikTok situation pretty well, right? Since like the ban and all, and then he had to go and justify himself in front of Congress.
Yeah, I think that was a grill, right? 5 hours in front of Congress, and he's not even American, so.
That was so funny.
So,
I think we did a podcast about it, so I will link it down below in the show notes if you guys are interested.
Okay.
I think we did. Otherwise, I will cut this part out.
Okay. Anyway, so I think his predecessor, right, Kevin Mayer, the former Disney executive, he lasted for like a couple of weeks. I guess that guy being American, be part of the establishment, he probably had a lot of pressure. But look at how Shou has been handling. I mean, initially when he was like appointed CEO and people were saying, okay, they needed the face, right? Because the co-founders of ByteDance, they are media shy. And probably because of their background, whatever, so they are not really appearing in front of cameras, let alone like going to Congress and stuff. So the interesting about Shou is that, I mean, you see the way he has been working hard to try to preserve this. It's actually pretty formidable. You know, a few months ago, before TikTok, he was actually working for Xiaomi, right? I think it was the CFO of Xiaomi, the Chinese smartphone brand, and now it's making cars.
Yes.
A car model which is very similar to Porsche. I think Dennis, you can pull that up. So mid last year, the founder of Xiaomi, Lei Jun, who is himself a celebrity in China, business celebrity, he made a speech where he mentioned that So Shou is someone he saw a great potential in, and he had been grooming for many years. And when he was resigning to join somebody else, and Lei Jun said he felt that it was slap in the face. He said that was actually the key reason for him to hesitate about whether he should get into cars, losing such a high potential executive, probably successor even. So that shows the potential that people saw in him. Yeah.
I think he's been doing very well, right? I mean, obviously, he's pretty well spoken. I don't know if he's media trained, but he's very well spoken.
I think at this stage he's probably very well media trained. But being a CEO of TikTok, he probably knows. I mean, how to engage directly with the audience. Yeah.
That's true, because he also has. I don't know if he has his own TikTok account, but he also made a
He
video.
does, yeah,
he
he
also
does.
made a video addressing like the whole TikTok ban
All
and
his
everything.
videos on his TikTok profile are self-filmed, like selfie
Really,
style.
very-
So he speaks directly to the camera and addresses the camera, like the audience directly.
Very TikTok style.
Very
Yeah,
TikTok style.
personal.
And he's receiving a lot of compliments and praises from the TikTok community.
I think it's something that shows the media trend as well, right? I mean, if you think about before the current U.S. election, the Trump side staged a coup to win this, partially because they went all the way to different platforms, TikTok, or the podcasts, to communicate directly with the audience, different kinds of audience. They're not shy. I mean, okay, you have an audience of this profile. Okay, I'll go and talk to you for 3 hours, so that your audience hear what I have to propose. So yes, and the way that people consume media now is probably different from I don't know, 10 years ago, where you rely on mainstream media, where people just
That's true, because I think now they realize that mainstream media isn't as effective, especially I think amongst the younger generation of voters. Because you see that kind of in Singapore as well, where more politicians are starting to go onto social media. They might not be doing it well, but they are trying their best.
They are.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning curve, right? Because we try to be relatable to an audience of different generation. It makes an effort. Just think about how your parents have been trying to relate to your generation.
Side note, I love Lee Hsien Loong's Instagram account.
Okay.
Because his Instagram account is very personal. Like, it's very cute. Like, he'll take photos of plants.
Oh,
And he'll just
yeah.
like, the plant today taken by like me.
Okay, I didn't know that you were interested in plants, but
I'm not, but it's like very cute to see like your prime minister.
It's that he's the one.
It makes I feel like it humanizes the more. And it just
go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna move on to Xiao Hong Shu. Anything else you want to add in?
No.
I think another thing that was kind of interesting to me about this whole TikTok ban, right, was kind of this movement from TikTok to Xiao Hong Shu.
Is it a movement?
It was
Like literally people move.
That's the funny thing, right? So it was actually a couple of days before
Yeah.
the actual ban. There was a hashtag on Xiao Hong Shu. So Xiao Hong Shu, for those who are not aware, is kind of this social media platform. It's very popular in China and also a little in Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah.
So there was this trending hashtag called TikTok refugees on Xiao Hong Shu. So essentially a bunch of American consumers started creating Xiao Hong Shu accounts and posting on Xiao Hong Shu. Like, oh, TikTok is going to be banned. I'm moving to this platform now.
The TikTok influencers, and then they started posting their content that they will usually post on TikTok, and then they called themselves TikTok refugees.
So there was an exchange between the Chinese and American users on Xiao Hong Shu, right? Essentially all the American users were like, I'll give you my data, just send me like photos of your cats. Which is funny because I think this move was kind of a retaliation by the American users. Essentially one of the main concerns that regulators pointed out for TikTok was that the data privacy issues, right? And so American users were like, okay, ban me from TikTok, I'll go straight to the source. I will give my data directly to a Chinese company.
I mean, it shows that some young people don't really care about the data. And do you guys use Xiao Hong Shu yourselves?
Yes.
Okay, for what?
Research. So usually when I'm planning for trips, if I'm going somewhere like if I'm in China or somewhere that speaks Chinese, Xiao Hong Shu is a pretty good source of finding places to go, things to eat.
Yeah, very good tips and very comprehensive recommendations, right? You as well?
I use it for makeup.
For makeup.
For makeup,
They have so many ideas, and they usually tell you like, so it's very comprehensive. They give like full-on guides, and not just makeup. They give you like full-on guides how to use like, for example, MacBook. Like if you don't know Excel, you can go on Xiao Hong Shu to learn how to use Excel. Things like that.
Yep. So obviously it's a very 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 popular platform in China, especially for the young people, and it's probably one of the only like growth stage startups which are still hiring in the country. But of course, it took the company many years to reach where it is today, and of course lots of trials and error. And of course, over the last few days, a lot of people are talking about, okay, Xiao Hong Shu reached fame, right? It was #1 in the chart in the US.
Yes.
And I was telling my friends that if I were Xiao Hong Shu, I would be damn scared. So because I don't know how to manage all these US users, right? I don't know what the concern, I don't know what the data issues, even though the users don't care, regulators cares. And unlike TikTok versus Douyin, where you have ByteDance has two products for China and non-China audiences, keeping them separate, Xiao Hong Shu doesn't have that.
That's true. There's no separate entity. It's just
the same app, right? Yeah. So what happens if the US users start talking about politics to Chinese users? That would become a big issue, right? So
that's something that would be concerning for Xiao Hong Shu, right? Because obviously that puts them in the spotlight for regulators. And I don't think American users would understand kind of the significance of mentioning certain terms. To them, they might think like, oh, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that this joke could help put the platform in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So basically, there's two very different internet environments, and of course, I mean, I think for Xiao Hong Shu, it probably has international ambitions, right? Because now in Singapore, Malaysia is already, I think, accidentally became very popular. But for it to be a full-fledged sort of international platform like TikTok is, it will probably take them a long time. And a lot of sort of organizational capabilities they need to build, product capabilities they need to build. So lastly, I think this morning we posted something on WeChat about.
We posted an article about the TikTok.
Yeah. So
I will try to add a link in the show notes below.
Yeah. You can try.
If I can find a way to add the article link.
Yeah. There's a link, but you need to translate it yourself because it's written in Chinese. But we added a poll towards the end, so I think we can add a screenshot of that poll into this. So basically we're asking, I mean, how do you guys think that TikTok will eventually end up in the US, right? What's the fate will be eventually? So we gave them a few options. First is that, okay, I mean, we don't see any chance of it surviving. The second is that they will reach a deal very soon and keep operating. The third is that TikTok is a pawn of a much bigger chess game, probably between China and the US. So if you are a small player on the TikTok ecosystem, it's very hard for you to play with them. Yeah. The fourth is that it will be long drawn out battle. So be prepared for volatilities and turbulences. And the next one is Trump will see the enemies from within. So most people chose, as of now, so hundreds of votes, like 52% of the total voters voted for. This will be a long drawn battle. Be prepared for volatilities. So it's true, right? I mean, you have a lot of signals and people are willing to make a deal, but before a deal is reached,
there's a lot of negotiation.
Also negotiation, also external tactics, and you show the force, etc., etc. So of course, from our point of view, we hope that TikTok will continue to operate because, I mean, and it gives people the opportunity to create content that the other platforms are not sort of at the same level with TikTok on. So, but also, I mean, there's lots of commerce going on. There's lots of business opportunities. As you mentioned, that the GMV reached
about 9 billion.
9 billion, yeah, and of course, the ecosystem is being created. It's not there yet. I mean, you don't have that level of MCNs and professional services as China has, but it's getting there. So there are lots of opportunities which can be created, and I think something which creates a bit of competitive pressure for other platforms. I think overall it's a good thing for consumers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but let's see. Yeah.
we shall see what happens. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Impulso podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, do like this video as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on future videos. And of course, like we mentioned earlier in the video, Momentum Works has a report in collaboration with TabCard coming out this week on the TikTok shop data based in the US. So the report will be in the show notes below if you guys are interested.
Should we publish something on TikTok? Or is it a different format?
It's a different format. But we
Okay,
can
we need to
publish
use the phone,
something
yeah?
on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, jangan you hold the phone and film lah later.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.